what's up, y'all? It's your girl Fehblistic, aka Fati, Astro by Fati. You already know the vibes, and welcome to my YouTube channel, y'all. Follow me on my TikTok, follow me on my Instagram at Fehblistic. But in my YouTube, I'm going to make this more detailed, and then as opposed to my content on my other platforms, because I want you guys to really understand astrology. So in this episode, I'm going to be talking about is understanding the difference between the planets, the signs, and the houses, right? Pretty much think of this as a sleepover, right? You have a certain vibe how you want your sleepover to go. You're the host, like, you know, you have different people you want to invite over and pull up to your crib, and like you get this whole energy and different energies interacting with each other to understand the whole takeaway of the experience of the sleepover. I like to use that as a metaphor to tell people when trying to read astrology, because it's kind of like moving like a Rubik's Cube around. Once you understand all the planets separately, the houses separately, and the signs separately. But in essence, I'm gonna just condense it down for you guys to understand this one clip, just a beginner's like surface level understanding of how to read them all together. So with planets, I would say the planets is representative of the vibe that's going down on the sleepover. You have to fulfill what that planet is asking for in essence, because the zodiac sign, I would say, is just, oh, there's an ant. But anyways, so like say like the sleepover, oh my god, bear with me, y'all. But yeah, so say like with the sleepover, right? The planets want you to fulfill the energy that it's giving. Like, it's the planet. Like, you know, the planets came before we even discovered zodiac signs, you know? I would say like the planet is more so the expressions that we could all fathom, but then now we break it down into a character representing that expression, which I would like to say is the zodiac sign. But the zodiac is always going to submit to what the planet is telling it to do, not the other way around. But at the end of the day, the zodiac is the one carrying the torch and how to fulfill what the energy of that planet is asking for. The different houses is just showing different areas in your life with this energy and how it's going to interact with each other. So say for sure, I'll just like say like 3 different words for each planet, just so you can get a surface level understanding. Like, say with your sun, is representative of your creativity, your ego, your pride, your sense of importance in this world, your sense of significance, and how you stand out from others. Your moon is more so like your emotions, like your sense of comfort, how you gain security, how you build a foundation for yourself, what does structure look like to you. I would like to say Mercury is like the planet of communication. It's the intellect, it's opinions, it's ideas, it's planning, it's thoughts, it's anything that can almost be rationalized. It's logic, like, you know. Venus, I would say it's the planet, obviously people would like to say it's love, but it's also different ways of that. It shows what you love. What does love look like to you? What does support look like? What is compromise? What is interaction? What is cooperation? I would like to say Neptune is the planet of illusion, but clarification at the same time. It's literally kind of like a mirror of what you want to perceive of something. I would like to say this is like a perception kind of planet. It could either blur the lines and make you be naive to certain things, or it could clear up the situation that maybe other people didn't see coming. So that's like a mystical type of planet to mess with. Pluto, I would like to say, is just like an extreme planet. It kind of is just like it's either all this or it's all that. It's kind of very black and white in how like it maneuvers with things. So whenever it's coming into wherever it's at in your chart, like that's pretty much destructing and reconstructing it up. I would say a sense of that is similar to Mars, but Mars, I would say, is more so your willpower, your vitality in a way, like your initiative, like your energy, like what makes you go, like, you know, like what makes you do, like, you know. Whereas Pluto is kind of like, I don't care how it gets done, it's done. but Mars wants to know how. So like and I'll get into that later. I would like to say Uranus is kind of like that wild card kind of planet. Like, you know, it kind of just throws up in your life and kind of just throws a monkey wrench at you and like makes it like confusing, or like makes it more so a challenge, or you create that challenge for yourself. It's kind of like unexpected, like kind of planet. So understanding all of that, you will see how the signs are represented by these planets in a way. So are reflected and condensed down into these characters, like I said. So say like with the sun, we said it was like the ego, it's the pride, it's the willpower, it's the significance, it's how you stand out. We know that is represented by Leo. Like, you know, Leos are those lion-hearted type of characters. Like, you know, they want to stand out, they want to just be the best at whatever, but not in a competitive way, but just like in a loving, creative, like inner child kind of way. Like they are represented by the 5th house, and like that shows, the 5th house can show how you navigate your creativity, how you navigate what romance, and how you generate ideas, and how do you like tap into that inner child, like how do you express yourself and have that freedom, you know. I would like to say the moon is similar to, or is represented, I would say, by Cancer. You know, Cancer is the nurturing, like it's the nurturing crab. Like, you know, it wants to be in a shell, like its home, 4th house things, like moon situations. Like, you know, it wants to have that sense of comfort. It wants to make people are emotionally quenched in how they're feeling and making sure that they're safe. I would like to say Mercury, right, is a planet that is co-ruled by both Gemini and Virgo. But even though Mercury is the planet of intellect and logic and communication, I like to say that Gemini and Virgo kind of separate that in different ways. I would like to say Gemini is more so like the gift of gab, like hands-on, like networking, Twitter type base type of communication. Whereas Virgo is the one that's like in the books, deep analysis, research kind of papers. Like it wants to get the answers side of side of Mercury. So you can see how they are both education and information driven, but just for different reasons, in a sense. Venus is kind of the same way. Like when you think of it, it's co-ruled with both Taurus and Libra. Libra like represents the 7th house of relationships, connections, partnerships. It could represent your enemies. Libra is bringing that balance, hence it being the scale. Like, you know, and how do you bridge the gap between two things? And this is where Libra is at in your chart. Your 7th house placements, Venus, like this is going to show where you try to bring harmony into these things, how you harmonize anything that Libra is. And Taurus is more so the other side of Venus. Like it's more so, maybe we'll say it's more like they are represented by the 2nd house of like money and assets and stuff, but I don't want to say Venus is superficial in that kind of way, but it's just showing your sense of security, your sense of value, how far you would go for what is valuable to you, your worth. And Taurus is going to make sure it protects of that. Like, you know, it is that earth energy and everything. And hold on, you guys, it's like a dog chasing me.
I'm sorry, he just got too excited.
It's okay. See, it was meant to be in this video. But I'm not deleting this video because of that, because we already 9 minutes in. But it was a cute dog though. But yeah, Taurus, like, you know, it's represented by like the 2nd house of like those assets. Like how far would you go for your sense of worth in these, like in life? 2nd house will show you how you demonstrate that, depending on whatever planets or signs is in it. Neptune. Oh, I also forgot about Jupiter as a planet. Jupiter is represented by Sagittarius. Like, you know, Jupiter is the planet of expansion, of wisdom, of literature, of higher knowledge, of foreign travels, and all sorts of ways in how to gain something greater, whether it be mentally, physically, through experience, like just the essence of being. So like that's why it could sound almost spiritual in God's sense, like almost like the 12th house, but the 12th house is like the hidden spirituality, subconscious mind, like kind of like the unwritten essence of tapping in, how like that's what the 12th house is. And I feel like the 9th house is kind of like how we navigate to find that meaning of the 12th house. Jupiter is represented by Sagittarius, is represented by Jupiter. I'm so sorry, y'all. This dog is like keep walking back and forth and he's distracting me. But pretty much, yeah, like now understanding that you have these understandings of like the planets and the signs, you kind of get the gist that I'm going with, the characteristics being broken down, the expressions of the planets being broken down into a characteristic of the sign. So then now when it comes to the houses, like that's easy. Like I could break that down real quick and then I'll show you how you can interpret all these at the same time. So the first house is represented by Aries. It's the head, it's the ego, it's your identity, it's represented by the ascendant sign. It's who you think you are, what other people think you are, your first impression to this world. Second house is represented by Taurus. Like I said, it represents your money, your self-worth, what you like, what you'll spend your money on, your sense of comfort, and how do you go about obtaining that. Your third house is represented by Gemini, Mercury. It's like your short travels, it's your quick communications, it's kind of like those day-to-day activities, like, you know, when you go to Walmart in the morning type of things, not like deep connections with people. That's more so 7th house Libra type of things. So yeah, third house is like your immediate environment and how you kind of interact with your environment. Fourth house is represented by Cancer. Like I said, it's your home, it's your roots, it represents your parents, your household, how you came up, like your upbringing in a sense, and just the type of structure that you're looking for, how it was opposed on you, or what structure it was. Fifth house is represented by Leo. Like I said, like your creativity, your inner child, romance, fun, sex, and all of that good stuff in play. Sixth house is represented by Virgo. It is the house of work, it is the house of health, routine, diseases, and just, you know, Virgo is a workaholic. Like, you know, this shows like what do you do every day, like kind of like you go to the gym, whatever, you get your coffee day to day. Like certain signs can show, implicate what you do as your routine and how you manage that. Seventh house is represented by Libra. Like I said, partnerships, connections, enemies, relationships, how you harmonize everything. Eighth house is represented by Scorpio. This is the house of Mars, like, and Pluto, you know, it's co-ruled also with Aries, with showing that aggression, like that destruction. But it's like Aries is more so doing it in its own sense, like I said before. But eighth house Scorpio is like, it's the occult, it's the hidden, it's the stuff people don't want to face or like talk about. It's the stuff that people psychologically try to hide from themselves. Like, I don't want to say this is like some skeleton in the closet type of house or something, but it's nothing too far-fetched, you know. But this house likes to transform and reconstruct, like break down and rebuild over again whatever it's touching, like in this house and this sign and the planets and how it wants to go about it. The ninth house is represented by Sagittarius and Jupiter. Like I said, this is the house of wisdom. Like, how do you educate yourself? How were you educated? How do you find wisdom? What is your faith? What do you believe? How do you obtain knowledge? How do you retain knowledge? And who are spiritual guides or teachers or role models in your life? Like, you know, how was that for you? 10th house is represented by Capricorn. It's the planet of Saturn. Like, you know, I would like to say this is the house of reputation. Some people would like to say it's career, but I personally don't feel like your career identifies who you are. So So I would like to say that this is the house of what impact you make to the world. Like what do people take away from you from this house? Like what is it about you, like, you know, because it's opposite of the fourth house, like your foundation, like, you know, what made you who you are now to this day, like for everybody else to see. This can be, it could also still represent your career, and like, because some people, once they understand that, like, you know, they can't make it for a living, like, you know. I would like to say, well, the 11th house is ruled by Uranus and Aquarius, like, you know. Aquarius is like the head honcho, like the collective, like vibes. It's the tribe, it's the community, it's everything. Like when you're like considering anything, like everything. The literally like the collective. And how do you interact with that house? Like how do you network? How, like, what, who's your tribe? Like who's your clan? Who do you hang with? What are you represented by? Who do you represent? Like, you know, in this house. 12th house, Pisces, like Neptune. This is the house of endings. This is the house of subconscious. This is the house of fears, depths, karma. And just like I said, like, since it is like the last of the house of, like, it's the end house of completion of life, like, you know, so this is kind of that dreamy Piscean side that we see to the world, because like it's mystical, like we don't know how to fathom it, hence it being, this can be the house of representing how you sleep. This can be the house representing how you interact with your own spirituality and like yourself, like what type of subconscious thoughts like you're creating for yourself, what illusions and fears that affect you. So just understanding all of those now, and like I said, I would break those down in a whole different video separately by planet and a sign, but now understanding this as the Rubik's Cube sleepover, like I was saying before, now understanding that, let me give you an example. Let's say for me, right, I have a Sagittarius Jupiter in the 3rd house. Jupiter is all about expanding. Like I said, it wants to get an experience, to gain a knowledge or a perception from it. Like it's opposite of Gemini, like the intellect of Mercury, like, you know. So it being in my 3rd house, like, you know, of Gemini, there's different ways I want to go about learning a lot of stuff, or actually reverse that around, because I'm a Libra rising and tropical, so I kind of am like a paradox of both signs as I'm trying to explain this, but it's two in the same. But Sagittarius in the 3rd house, right? 3rd house of Gemini, of your environment. Jupiter wants to expand. Jupiter wants to gain a bigger understanding, a bigger just like whatever it wants to gain. It's like kind of like a pansexual kind of sign, like, you know, it just likes information. So when it's in the sign of Sagittarius, right, Sagittarius is all about that higher learning too. So it's like I want to know the ins and outs of everything I put my mind to. Like, you know, I want to get into it. I want to really dive deep. Like, you know, I really want to almost damn near embody it, like as if I'm that motherfucker, like, you know. And it's funny because it's in the 3rd house, in my 3rd house of Gemini, like, you know, your environment, your immediate environment, like your neighborhood, who you connect with, who you network with, like who you follow online and stuff like that. I like to follow a lot of holistic shit. I like to follow a lot of gurus. I like to follow a lot of spiritual veganism shit. Like, you know, I come from an environment where my family, and I'm not even going to get too deep in representing family in this video, but where religion was very heavy, like presented in different, matter of fact, different religions. You know, Gemini wants to get in different hands. And so I just always been fantasized by knowledge in itself. And I try to gain that every day. I like going to the bookstore all the time. I like going on road trips. I like moving a lot. I'm on my way to move to my 4th state this summer. You know, I would like to say, I don't want to use too much of my chart, but like, let me just throw another example. Actually, I'll use another one of my placements. Fuck it. Because it's just my tropical chart. So, say for understanding that, right? Jupiter wants understanding, knowledge. I wanted in my 3rd house environment every day. I'm always wanting to learn. And Sagittarius and Jupiter, I want to dive deep into it and damn near practice what I'm learning. So I like to read a lot of educational, self-uplifting type of information. This is like the stuff I like to look up when I'm on Twitter and stuff. I'll use another combination. I have a Pisces Saturn in the 6th house. Saturn is represented by both Aquarius and Capricorn. It is that house, it is that planet of discipline. It is that planet of structure. It is that planet of patience, of virtue, I would like to say. It is like the Godfather planet. It's that teacher that wants to teach you the right way. It doesn't want to cut corners. It doesn't want to cheat its way out. It wants you to take it very serious. This is like the side of us where we could be very serious at, and where we're dedicated to a lot of things at. Because Saturn is a planet that can sit in a sign, especially in transits, for a very long time. So it's very patient. It's in my 6th house of Virgo. It's been coming to a delay in like different career choices I've made, different work habits I try to do. Or on the flip side, I could be very dedicated to my job. I could be very disciplined. I can be very hardworking. Like, obviously with the Virgo Capricorn combination, like, think of them in the same house. Like I said, like a sleepover. Like, they're gonna wanna work hard in this house, like, you know, in this sleepover. But I have Pisces there. Pisces, I know, like, Pisces is the opposite of Virgo. Like, you know, it does want to work hard, but it does the spiritual labor more so than the physical labor that we will see more so maybe with Capricorn or Virgo. So with a Pisces Saturn in the 6th house, you can see someone that is very devotional to their craft, their routines, their work. Or someone that wants to escape from it. Like, you know, Piscean doesn't want to work. It wants to be fluid. It wants to be free. It doesn't want to be bounded and condensed to what Saturn is asking for. But like I told you, Saturn, the planets come before the signs. Sucks to suck Pisces, but this is what Saturn wants. So it's like, all right, I'll do it. So what does Pisces do in Saturn in the 6th house? Well, at least for me, in my combination, I went vegan. You know, Neptune, Piscean energy, like I said, it can either clarify or fog up whatever you're trying to perceive it as. And I'm, like I said, Neptune, it get deep talking about Neptune. But yeah, like, you know, in my essence, I felt like I wanted to clear up my health. 6th house of Virgo represents health. Saturn being there is something I've been dedicated to and trying to do over and over time. I have been vegan for about 2-3 years now. I was pescatarian 3 years before that. So yeah, I just wanted to give you 2 different examples on how, like, you could kind of interpret how the signs are in the houses. So once again, sleepover, planet is the vibe, signs is the host, the house is the address. So Pisces, Saturn, 6th house. Saturn, the vibe is we working. Pisces is like, all right, but let's have fun with it. Let's clear up the space. Like let's really dive deep. And it's in my address of health routine. Like, you know, like let's get these veggie wraps going and put down the chicken. Like that was just like my situation. Like I said, Sag, Jupiter, Gemini, in the 3rd house of Gemini. Sleepover, you know. Jupiter wants to expand, and this sleepover, we all about expanding over here. And the host is Sagittarius, so it's in its own house. So it's like, yo, I'm telling y'all how we about to do this over here, and the vibe is just in the environment, my address of my immediate environment. So it's with everybody. So it's like, I want to learn with y'all. Like, what's up? I'm a communicator. I'm an intellect. I want to talk. I want to put you on game. I want you to put me on game. So as you can see, I'm getting all excited and whatever with this, but I can keep going on. I am going to keep going on in my other YouTube videos. So stay tuned. Once again, follow me on Instagram at fehblistic, TikTok at fehblistic,